So, Rob, you've been in the industry for or at PIMCO for 20 years. How have you seen the Australian fixed income market change over that period of time?
Yeah, it's a great point. Early on in my career, there was discussions from the Commonwealth government about whether or not they even needed a bond market.
Wow.
The
Really?
surpluses, yeah.
Wow.
The budgets were in surplus.
It must be
Yeah.
nice.
A lot's changed over that time, hasn't it?
So as far as the eye could see, it was surpluses, and then so through the Costello, through when he was treasurer, there was literally discussions: do we really need a bond market?
Wow.
And so, 20 years on or so, obviously there's been issuing more and more bonds ever since, and with the budget this week, there's obviously deficits as far as the eye can see. Not big ones, not like places like the US, but deficits nonetheless. So the bond market's changed a lot. The other thing is that the corporate bond space in Australia has become incredibly vibrant. It used to be quiet and sort of a irregular issuance. Now there's literally deals every day. The structured market, RMBS and other things, again, RMBS market in Australia is now the second biggest. Well, issuance last year put it as the second biggest in the world after the US. So there's so much happening. The final episode or the final chapter for some of those things is the hybrid market's now disappearing, needs to be replaced somewhere. So part of that will definitely be replaced in the bond market directly.
Well, let's turn to, I guess, the world as it is today, and I guess the sort of the macro outlook. And PIMCO recently published a paper where you claimed that uncertainty is certain. And I think if we think about what's happened so far in 2025, uncertainty is maybe even underselling it. So can you elaborate on, I guess, how you see the market today and why you think uncertainty is the name of the game?
The media is driven by headlines every day. Yeah. Some of the things about that uncertainty being certain relates to the changes in trade policy, the changes in geopolitics, the changes in alliances around the world, and the way that's being communicated. So there's definitely a lot of noise. For an active manager, that's a good thing. We like noise, we like volatility, but it's also very important for end investors to be thinking about different potential states of the world when they build portfolios. And so that's really the messaging around uncertainty being certain, is that as long as you've taken that into account in terms of your investment outlook, then it can be a huge opportunity. But just assuming that it's more business as usual that we've got used to over previous cycles, I think that would be a terrible investment mistake. You need to really think that through. So when you look at things like trade policy, uncertainty indices, they're like a straight line up, going straight up. There's so much uncertainty. Again, we'll get some more clarity, at least to some degree, around the tariff backdrop. But even that's not going to be stable. There'll be constant changes there.
Yeah.
So again, I guess build your portfolios for some resilience, because there's more noise coming.
If we drill down on here in Australia, how do you feel like we're currently positioned? And what does 2025 have in store for us as Aussie investors?
I guess we're now in a phase where the RBA's engaged. Obviously one cut so far. That's a reflection of a few different things. First thing is inflation's coming back down. It's coming back down slowly, I admit that, but it's coming back down nonetheless. If you annualise the most recent inflation prints on a core level, we're bang in the middle of the RBA's target. So things are there ready for more policy action. And then if you strip out the government sector from the economy, we're already on the cusp of recession. Like, things are pretty tough. We need some more policy support. Employment is getting looser. There's been this fear that employment markets are very tight, but that's loosening. So all of these things are aligning, in our view, for RBA to re-engage. It's not just one and done. That's just not accurate. We think there's probably another 3 cuts coming this calendar year.
Wow.
It's a little bit more than the market thinks, but we think it's necessary to provide some stability to economic outcomes, especially with all of this volatility being induced from some of these trade policy decisions.
And you think that's the case even after the recent commentary from the RBA, just saying we've done it, back away.
Yeah, leave us alone.
Leave us alone.
Yeah, it's So I guess the RBA, and I have a huge amount of respect for the governor and everyone else in the RBA. So it's not a commentary about the individuals. They're incredibly talented and smart people. But I don't think it's worthwhile getting caught up on what the market's saying. The market has a job too. And our job is to preempt what we think is going to happen and position our portfolios for our clients on our view. And so there's no reason to get hung up on what the market thinks, is my take. But that said, remember the RBA was suggesting back in November that things were a long way away, yet we get to February and there's a move.
Yeah.
Right? So I wouldn't read too much into that. One of the things that the RBA is very cautious around is forward guidance because of mistakes or misinterpretations, I'd say, from previous governors that were sort of taken as gospel, and that they would just sort of try to provide some helpful guidance. So irrespective of what the rhetoric from the RBA, we still think the economy will justify additional cuts.